Last time we got to stand in the back. This time.
Dan Havens, Mike Basil. If you were here last month, you know we're Mo's guys, Lieutenant Edwards. We do community-oriented policing. Basic means we answer traffic complaints in the county for freeways and unincorporated roadways, stuff like that. One of the other things we do is if Lieutenant Edwards has a homeless problem that he needs to look into, we go out and we look at it, and then we coordinate with Sergeant Byington, who coordinates with Caltrans, and we try and work it out. So normally that's where our homeless problems are, is somewhere attached to a freeway somehow. So other than that, if you guys have any questions for us, happy to answer them. And don't make it easy.
Monterey Road, do you guys handle Monterey Road, or is that SJP?
That's SJP. Okay. Is there a homeless problem on Monterey?
Last year they took 100 carts, I thought it was a Safeway.
Yeah, so in all seriousness, with the homeless, we push them off the freeway, they push them back on the freeway. We push them off the freeway. It's a big cycle right now. We're working on it. We work with Caltrans a lot.
So they're cleaning the trees out, I noticed, along the highways.
They are. And
so is that an ongoing project, or does it still have to be funded, or they're still going to?
It always needs to be funded, right? They've got, if you've been in certain areas, you've seen new fencing that's supposed to be, you can't cut through it.
Okay.
We've already seen some creative ways they're trying to get around it. It's got big spikes on the top, so they're covering the spikes now, so they can get around that kind of thing. So Caltrans is trying different fencing. They're trying different ways to try and deter people from going back on the embankments.
Well, you can see them, that helps too, just.
Yeah, and unfortunately some people don't care. They'll just throw their tent up anyway.
Any progress on the sideshows and stuff, and what's the plan for the summer? Don't they always get back?
So I actually texted our sergeant that does that just this week, and I can read it to you. But basically, they're setting up training for officers, right, to recognize not just the sideshow activity, but once we stop the car, popping the hood and hammering them for emissions and stuff like that, because that gets very expensive, and you basically take away their fun toy when they got to fix it, and they got to go to the referee. And the referee's got to sign off on it, and these referees typically aren't very kind, so it's one of the ways we try and hurt them, right? And then also in June, there's a meeting coming up with the Highway Patrol and allied agencies, and with us, remember, it's not just San Jose, right? It's the Sheriff's Department, it's Morgan Hill, it's Oakland, because anybody that's got this training is probably going to get pulled because of the size of these events that are going to be moving around. So. There are meetings coming up, they're trying to plan for this kind of stuff. Yeah, and it's just one of those things, so. Yeah.
How about, sorry.
Yeah, you can share.
Like they did with drag racing, why not find a spot where, they can do the sideshows like legally and safely?
That's somebody that has to be willing to take on that kind of liability.
Yeah.
And honestly, from my perspective, I think part of the thrill of them doing their thing is doing it on the freeway.
Yeah.
Right.
It takes away a lot of the fun if I can just go do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing it on the freeway and having my buddy stop traffic so I can do it and then we can blast out.
Right.
So.
And motorcycle, and I'm going to call them gangs, but groups of motorcycles do the same thing on freeways. I don't know.
Yes, they do.
Sideshow,
they do it in front of my house too. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
With the motorcycles, it's a little tough. I don't want to say it's a little tougher, but it's kind of the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the bikes that are doing it don't have license plates.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stop. And we're probably not going to chase them through the city just for doing a wheelie.
Right.
Because they're going to get hurt or they're going to hurt somebody. So. Yeah, but the motorcycles are just, to me, just as big a problem because in fact, probably right about now they're going by my house because normally that's when they're rolling down on Saturday night. So, no, I live over off of Hillsdale.
Okay.
Also, chase policy. You guys have different ones. You're going to chase somebody or not. I got a question in the community and really lady was upset about it. Your policy on chasing is?
Well, okay, that's kind of a loaded question.
I know.
What am I chasing? Because that's the first thing. That's the first thing that's going to decide everything. What am I chasing and why am I chasing it? What time of day am I chasing it? What are the traffic conditions? Are we on the freeway or are we on the surface streets? Because that's a big deal too. So those all play a factor in whether or not we're going to chase somebody, particularly once it gets off the freeway. It's really hard to argue minimal traffic in this area, right? There's always traffic. So odds are, unless it's a pretty dangerous felony, we're probably not going to chase it off the freeway.
Palo Alto was using a GPS device. Are you guys looking at that? They were pretty effective with that.
The little,
Yeah, they shot it.
yeah. Not that I'm aware of, but Sacramento doesn't tell us.
Right. There's a device that they can shoot it. That they're using that sticks onto the car. I guess a projectile goes onto it, stays on it. They don't have to chase them. They just wait to find out where they go.
That seems appropriate for Silicon Valley.
I would love to do that off my motorcycle.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, you just pop it down and shoot it, right?
The best option for us right now is still a helicopter.
Yeah.
Helicopter and airplane. So for us, San Jose PD's helicopter is probably going to be the closest. Our helicopter's out of Napa.
Yeah.
It takes about 20 minutes to get here if they're ready to go. So.
Wow.
What about carpool lane violation? Seems like everyone just ignores that now.
We write a lot of those.
Oh,
the
really?
last statistic I got, and if you heard a new one, let me know, was in one quarter, just San Jose Highway Patrol wrote 3,400 carpool tickets.
Wow.
So in a 3-month span, we wrote 3,400 carpool tickets.
Huh.
And in our division, it was upwards of 12,000.
Yeah, there's
Something like
yeah.
that.
How much do those cost?
$491 a piece. So, and there's no traffic schools, you have to pay a fine. We go to court a lot on those because people have nothing to lose. And it's a big fine. It's actually, I had a young lady in court the other day, she was on her second, that one's $790. So, yeah, they get more and more expensive. So we write a lot of them. We know that there are violators right and left, absolutely. So we're out there trying to get, I go up between the 1 and the 2 lane, and I'm looking for carpools, and I'm looking for cell phones. I'm looking for carpools, and I'm looking for cell phones. So, cell phone's a big one with us right now.
How are we doing on cell phones? Is it getting worse? Same?
It's the same.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, slightly worse, but, I mean, I just on my way here, I couldn't, if I were to stop for every cell phone, I would never get here. But it was, I saw at least 3 and like within a minute and a half. It was just.
And you're talking like literally like this or like?
No, like,
Texting, yeah.
like this.
Driving 55 in the fast.
And just as a reminder, because there does seem to be some confusion, you cannot hold this thing while you're driving. If your car is, and that includes, because people like to get creative and say, well, I'm stopped at a light, I'm not driving. Yeah, you're operating your car, you cannot hold it. If you're holding your phone, that's a cell phone ticket.
So if it's in a mount and your audio,
You get 1 tap, 1 swipe.
Okay, that's all.
That's it. So, yeah. If you're in a cradle and you're what? Yeah. No, can't do that. 1 tap, 1 swipe. And it can't be a really long swipe.
What about if you pull over, but your engine's still running? Is that, I mean, is that?
So, yeah, if you
kind
pull
of
over
same?
at a curb
Yeah.
and you're doing it, I think that's appropriate. Now, we don't want you to do that on a freeway.
Right.
Or
We don't want you to, well, it happens. You guys go, oh, yeah, no, it happens. We go over and there's somebody that decided they want to stop on the freeway shoulder. They make a phone call.
What about an off ramp? Is that
That's
part of the
safe.
freeway?
We don't want you on the off ramp.
Okay, so you gotta actually pull onto the
Yeah.
street and then get back on the
Yeah,
other
you gotta
side.
find a safe place to park
Okay.
and do stuff.
I got it. And I'm not, this is not a smart question, but this is a serious safety question. And I don't know if someone meant it, but personally, if a highway patrol or San Jose officer pulled me over and I'm on the freeway, I will go to the exit and park in the parking lot. Because all the stuff that's happening to you guys.
Yeah.
But if I did that, would I get myself in trouble in today's world? Okay,
Absolutely.
good.
If you, what I would recommend if you're gonna do that and the ramp's a little ways off.
Yeah.
Exactly. Stick your hand out the window. Throw your turn signal on so you've acknowledged you see me.
Okay.
And do something like this. And so I'll know, oh, okay, we're gonna go.
Because it's a win-win, right?
It's definitely safer for
And you
us.
slow down
Yeah.
too. You
Yeah.
slow down and turn your blinker on.
Yeah.
You get-
We actually try and take a lot of our traffic stops, we try and time them to take them off the freeway. Doesn't always happen, sometimes there's too big of a gap. Just
I drive down Silver Creek a lot, and all the right turn lanes and that whole right lane, that's all a
carpool lanes. So, but if you're turning right, what's the legal amount of distance I can actually enter? Because the entire lane, the full 3-4 blocks, but there's a big high school there, and a lot of times parents stop in that lane to let their kids out for school. So sometimes you have to get, you start really far back because you know the parents are gonna be stopping. So what is the legal amount of time you can be in that lane to turn right?
So for it to be a violation, it's you gotta be going through the intersection. So if they see you going through the intersection to the next side, that's a violation. If that makes sense. So.
But if I'm turning right at the next light, is it 50 feet back from that I can get enter safely to make that right?
Right after that previous right turn intersection, you can move in and then you can make your right turn.
Oh, okay. So it's quite a distance.
Yeah.
We had a similar, with Santa Tomas Expressway,
Yeah.
the carpool lanes in the right lane, and we would sit on the opposite side of the intersection. And so we'd give you all that distance to both move over both ways, right? You gotta enter and exit, and then once they went through,
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
gotta
it's
play
just such an
the game on that
awkward
one.
way
we would watch people go and exit and then turn around and.
Yeah.
They know, yeah.
Trucks, semis, things like that. Seems to me like, you used to remember that it was 55-mile-an-hour speed limit. And also, they always used to stay in the right lane, but now they're kind of all over the place. Is there any rules on that?
The laws haven't changed.
Laws
It
have
used to, it's still 65 miles an hour for the cars, and you
Yeah.
see that, so.
Yeah, so it's still 55.
Still 55,
Supposed
still,
to be in the slow lane.
still be in the slow lane unless you're
And then-
passing, you should be passing, you should be going.
What about body cams? Do they say anything about body cams? Because I want you to sit at that 85 to 87 on the 87 on ramp to 85 and just hold your body cam there and catch them all coming off of it. Then you don't have to go to court. You can send the video in.
Yeah, the body cam issue for, they tested them in 3 different areas, found one, and then they didn't buy them. So we don't have body cams. Cars have cameras in the cars, dash mounted, or, behind the mirror, but motor officers, we don't have.
You don't have anything, so you can just turn it and say, okay, I didn't do that, but I'm writing you a ticket because I got you on video there.
No.
There's that 87 to 85 things on that song.
85 days, what?
The off ramp to 87 going on to 85, they're always running it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen officers a couple officers sit there and then they try to get over, but yeah, they get caught. But I mean, everybody runs that thing.
There's a lot of stuff going on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
People,
And you can't be everywhere.
they know we're not everywhere.
Right.
They become very impatient, and they're willing to make, we spoke of it earlier,
Right.
they're making some very poor choices.
How many officers do we have in this area?
I think we have 70 on the road right now. Does that sound about right?
That sounds right, yeah.
That sounds about
But
right.
that's everywhere first. The
That's
south.
San Jose area. So
Okay.
that's basically city of San Jose. Our area goes from 101 Blossom Hill, 85 Cottle, to 85 Fremont, 101 in Ellis, 680 from Scott Creek up to 280 in Foothill, and then 17 in the Summit to 880 in Dixon Lake.
You don't go to work in hell?
Gilroy has
Do
one.
not. That is Hall Gilroy CHP.
Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, because who you're gonna call down here, it's gotta be, those guys get dispatched, and that's way up
If it's
here.
on 101, yeah. Up to Blossom Hill.
I got
Yes, sir.
I had something that I saw the other day and I didn't react to it and I'm wondering what should I have done. I was driving down 85 and I saw smoke coming from behind some trees but inside the sound wall. So I assume it was some homeless encampment or something. I couldn't tell, whether the smoke was grilling burgers or that it was a real problem. And I didn't do anything. I was driving, I couldn't pick up my phone and call, I didn't know what to do at that point, whether I should have reported it or, is that something where I should have just pulled over into the breakdown lane and made a report and then moved on, or is it not, was it just not?
I would say, I mean, if you can, just continue on, but try and make that, as long as you make note of where it was, if it's thick enough smoke and you feel like there's something going on there, or, it's kind of a judgment call, really. What you did isn't necessarily wrong, because if it's not you calling it in, somebody else is going to call it in. And if we'll get out there, but it's really up to you. You didn't do anything wrong by not calling it in. it doesn't sound like it warranted you to go, man, I really.
It wasn't a conflict.
Somebody needs to know about that, you know, so.
If I did decide to call it in, is it 911 that I would call?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And can you call in your car or you gotta pull over to it?
I think if the officer was next to you and started to get you for calling 911, maybe just point to the fire.
All right, yeah.
But small fires turn into big fires.
There you go.
I've had numerous times on 85 where if I drop back enough, which I prefer to do from the traffic that's in front of me, I'm typically in the middle lane because carpool is not used, where there are two, gentlemen in younger age cars, and that's not prejudicial, but and they're doing the one of these things, so somebody zooms through, or somebody may come this way, then somebody decides to pick up. Just as a safe driver, what my tendency is to back down to try to let that traffic go through. But I don't go grandmother speed.
Right.
I do try to adjust my speed so there's plenty of following distance. So is that the best route to take with that kind
Absolutely.
of crime?
Let them go. Let them do their thing. Eventually they'll crash. We'll come out. You can be a great witness for us.
Well, there's more and more of them all the time, and all during the day. So it can be lunchtime break, it can be.
And you know what? It's not the younger crowd anymore either. It's across the board. It really is.
Those old guys.
It's everybody.
Going back to the cell phones, some of the newer cars, they have a cell phone synchronized with the car.
Yep.
So the car intercepts the call. Is it a violation if you push the screen to receive the call?
One swipe and one go.
And some of the newer cars, you can tap it on your steering wheel, or tell it to answer, or tell it to read you a text, and it's awesome.
And it's okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
I didn't quite understand, was she saying that they were weaving in and out?
Yeah, she was,
Aggressive
it sounded
driving.
like just some reckless drivers racing or something like that, and she was just backing off and giving them some
So-
space.
One thing I just want to throw out some advice is that slower traffic should stay to the right and not drive in the fast lane. I mean, it's not a law, but it's a good practice to only be in there if you're passing or going faster than everybody else, right? So if we leave that lane open for those people, they won't have to go in and out. They can just,
No, this is
Well,
not, this is
what she was saying is she was in the middle lane, and they're coming from the right lane, they're coming from the left, they're
They're
basically racing.
They're working together.
Oh, they're racing.
It's very
Okay.
clear they're coordinated.
They're not in a hurry, they're just racing.
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Thank you, Dan.
But that is a valid point.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other questions? Appreciate you coming out.
I did have
There you go. Thanks, guys. Okay.
I'll take it. Up next is our famous Vanessa Sandoval.
Thank you so much for having me and for making some time on the agenda. I know that the men in uniform, they're always the funnest to talk to, so I will go quick. So I did want to give you an update on the homeless count. I know that everyone saw some of the articles and the information that came out. The results of the 2019 homeless count showed a pretty significant increase in homelessness across the Bay Area. In San Jose alone, it went up 1,822. And so there's still going to be a lot of research and analysis of these numbers. They were recently published just last week. But what we do know is that the city, the county, and the state are really not doing what we need to do in terms of prevention. So even though we're housing people and getting people off the street, we're not doing it fast enough because immediately once they're housed, another 4 people become homeless. And it has to do with affordability, lack of housing, and just really lack of resources. So some of the things that we're focusing on in the city budget this year, this time around, is really figuring out how we can best utilize the limited resources that we're going to be receiving from the state of California to address the homeless crisis here in San Jose. Some of the things that are being proposed currently in the mayor's March budget message is a center, upping the number of beds that we have, a navigation center where it's not just beds, but it's actual resources to get people connected, to get them off the streets. We're still working on some of those interim solutions. One of the things that the city recently did is we hired an additional planner to accept plans for development of affordable housing so that we can move those through the planning process a lot quicker. There were 4,000 people housed in Santa Clara County between 2017 and the present, but unfortunately, that's not enough to deal with the high numbers of people becoming homeless. Another update that I wanted to give you is on grocery outlets. So that's your new store coming through. The new grocery outlets are really neat and they have a lot of really great products, so I'm excited about it. This item will be coming to the Planning Commission on June 12th, and then it's going to be on the consent calendar for City Council for June 25th. Because it's a conditional use permit for a grocery store where there was previously a grocery store, there's no required community meeting. However, we have connected the developer to Greg, and we have told them that it would be a good thing for them to come out to the neighborhood association to answer any questions and for you all to get to know them. So Greg has their contact information. If they don't contact you, I'm sure you're going to contact them, and hopefully we can get them out here so that you'll get to know a little bit more about their business.
So what was that date, this date for the commission?
Planning Commission, June 12th. And then City Council consent calendar on June 25th.
And then once, okay, I thought the planning commission, if they approved it, it wouldn't have to go to city council, or is it
It's
because?
gonna be on the consent calendar.
That just means yay.
Yeah, I know, but okay, so they won't actually get their permit or submit their documentation
Until
for
the 25th.
construction until after.
Right, until
Oh.
after the 25th.
They're doing a lot in there now.
Yeah, but they're doing,
The basics.
yeah, they're doing the stuff to get ready for the refrigerator and all that stuff.
So some of the fun stuff that I wanted to share with you is there will be a mural dedication at the Edenville Library. If you drive down Monterey Road, you may have seen it. It's a local artist. It's the actual first mural in D2 that isn't in a school or on a utility box. So it's actually really exciting. If you can come out, it is on the 28th at 6:30. There'll be refreshments and there'll be a full dedication to it. You'll get an opportunity to meet the artist that painted it and learn about some of the background and what the different items in the mural mean. We're also doing our park activation this summer. So we have 8 parks that we're going to be activating this summer. One of them is Los Paseos. So on July 30th, the Viva Parks team will be out at Los Paseos Park, and so I want to work with you all so that we can figure out what sort of activities you want to see, how we can collaborate, make sure that we bring the resources that you all are interested to that event so that we can get the appropriate organizations and agencies tabling. So I'll be working with Greg. I'll send you an email and maybe we can chat about what role the neighborhood association wants to play. The Parks Department will come out and bring out all different kinds of activities. They've got all kinds of fun games, jumping houses, many different games that they'll provide. So there'll be plenty of activities, and then we can figure out how to plug everyone in and make sure that it's a fun community
So
event.
that's gonna be at the Los Paseos Park?
Yeah.
What about our
July
national
30th.
night out on August 6th?
The Viva Parks team does not work on National Night Out, so we can't get them to come fully. Many of our neighborhood associations have said, can we get these, once you see the fun activities that they have, it would be great if they could do National Night Out, but they unfortunately are not. They're tied up that day, so we can't bring them out that day.
Vanessa, what time is?
So the Viva Parks events start at 6 p.m.
That's on the newsletter.
It's on the newsletter, and I have some flyers that I will leave here. And then just really quickly wanted to update you all on the budget process. So just this week we submitted our budget documents. That means that every council office submits some memorandums requesting funding from what's called the Essential Services Fund. This year we have about $4 million in that fund. Some of the things that District 2 is that we're seeking funds to continue our contract with Downtown Streets team for the cleanup. And we're wanting to expand their area. They're currently cleaning up Branham Lane to Ford Avenue, so we want to expand them to go 2 days a week further down, all the way down to